I'm Dave Greenwood, and this is Overcoming Distractions. If you are an adult with ADHD, a busy professional, an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or just need some strategies to navigate your adult ADHD, you're in the right place. Who am I? I'm an entrepreneur with ADHD and the author of 2 books, Overcoming Distractions and Overcoming Burnout. I coach and mentor people just like you, and together we navigate the ups and downs of adult ADHD. From getting out of our own way to helping people just like you thrive in the workplace. That's what I do. Want more info on working with me? Hit overcomingdistractions.com. Ready? Let's get to today's podcast. Hey everybody, it is Dave, and let's just say welcome back to Overcoming Distractions. This is the place for you, the busy adult with ADHD that has the demanding job. You're a high achiever. You got a busy family life and you're trying to juggle everything. This is the place for you, and that's what we talk about here. So we don't talk about kids with ADHD. There are many awesome podcasts about that. This is strictly for you, that busy professional, whether you are the CEO or the entrepreneur. I'm here for you, and so are the guests that we have here periodically. So many of you come to me to work one-on-one because you are having challenges getting stuff done, whether it's managing your workload, it's staying focused, meeting deadlines, you're procrastinating, you're distracted, you don't have the right systems or routines. But here's the thing. We often blame ourselves and our ADHD for a lot of these challenges. But after we dig in a little bit, I can't tell you how many times we begin to realize that you may be working in a chaotic work environment, and I might actually say toxic. This happens over and over again when I talk to people. And I just want you just got to realize right out of the gate on this podcast that much of this is not your fault. So remember that. We always blame our ADHD for everything, but that's just not the case in many instances. Does it make our ADHD run wild? I mean, absolutely, right? But a lot of the things we're dealing with just are not our fault. I interviewed Ned Hallowell years ago for my first book, aptly titled Overcoming Distractions, and Ned Hallowell put ADHD, I think, on the map in the 80s with Driven to Distraction. He's sought after in the ADHD world. But, he said something that I really believe still rings true to me this day. And he said, if you want to thrive as an adult with ADHD, marry the right person and find the right job. And you've got to think about it. Those are where we spend most of our time in life, right? Whether we're home with a family or a spouse, a loved one, or we're working, right? So those two need to be the right decisions. So, you may love your work, you may love your career, you just might be in the wrong place. And I know a lot of you are also in a position where you may need to make your current situation work, but, maybe you're thinking about finding a new career opportunity or a job elsewhere that's not so toxic and chaotic. Sometimes we need to make something work for a period of time for various reasons. So maybe it's financial, or maybe the opportunities for your type of career or expertise maybe aren't so great at the moment. Or you may find that you can make your current situation work if you begin to just control some of the things. Get assertive, stick up for yourself respectfully, and build the habits that allow you to actually get your work done with less stress and not take home that stress every single day and think about work in a negative way on the weekends. So for all you folks out there that know you're working in a chaotic environment, there's toxicity at some level or at many levels within the organization. I want to discuss today how we can navigate it and make it work the best we can. We can't control everything. Let's just get real here. But we can certainly exert more control over the way we are working, which I believe can go a long way. So first, I want to discuss, and quite frankly, some of these may be obvious too, but maybe not, of the kind of the hazards of that chaotic workplace for those of us with ADHD. And of course, the first is those increased stress levels. And that chronic exposure to a chaotic environment just leads to more stress, which can cause anxiety, can cause or inflame depression. I'm not a doctor. Okay, let's just make that perfectly clear. I've said that a million times here. And other mental health issues. And that prolonged stress is linked to, adverse health outcomes, including cardiovascular disease, weakened immune function, gastrointestinal problems, headaches, muscle aches, all that stuff. So remember that stress week after week after month after year is going to take a toll on you. Next, if you haven't figured it out, if what I'm saying to you already is ringing really true, then you know that you just have reduced job satisfaction, right? Working in that toxic, chaotic environment just diminishes your satisfaction with your job, your career, your industry. You're going to become disengaged, and your motivation is just going to take a nosedive. And low job satisfaction is associated with higher turnover rates and lower productivity. And this is why some of us that have ADHD have had more than a handful of jobs and maybe even careers. And if we let our emotions get the best of us, which is a major possibility with those of us with ADHD, we might even get fired because we might have said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and we might have delivered it in a way that was not acceptable. So next, this is why a lot of people come to me and we work out problem solving together, is, that impaired performance and productivity. And, the stress, the distractions of that chaotic workplace can reduce your cognitive functions. It can impair your decision making. It decreases overall productivity, and our executive functions just take a nosedive, right? This is where we start to lose everything, and just our systems break down if we actually had them. Workplace chaos will negatively affect your concentration, your performance. It will lead to mistakes and just stupid errors that we just take home the stress of those mistakes at night and in the weekends, and we beat ourselves up. Physical health problems. We alluded to this a little bit a second ago, but constant stress, that negative environment, it manifests as physical health issues, the headaches, I can't tell you how many people have had stomach aches, they have trouble eating, chronic fatigue. The stress-related physical symptoms are common in people that are exposed to that long-term workplace stress. And I'm talking everyone I interviewed for my book, Overcoming Burnout, had major physical symptoms because of the chronic stress. Next is, you will suffer strained relationships. The tension, the negativity can strain those professional relationships. It leads to more conflicts with work, colleagues, with supervisors, with everybody in the workplace. And then, of course, those conflicts just in those relationships at work just contribute to even more job dissatisfaction and stress. And it's not just, work it's the stress at home. We bring that stress into our family lives, our home, our other relationships, our friends, because we're just so pissed off at what's going on at work. And that just extends into our personal life. And then, of course, burnout, which we talk about a lot. And a lot of people, I know many of you have contacted me because not only are you a busy adult with ADHD struggling to navigate a workplace, but now you're just feeling burned out. And that persistent exposure to that toxic environment leads to burnout. It's emotional exhaustion. Now you're cynical. You don't feel like you can celebrate any type of accomplishments because it's just toxicity all day long. And work in that chaotic environment, working with leadership that is mismanaging all types of projects, it's going to cause you to feel burned out. Now throw in some ADD, right? Other stress involved in your personal life, and guess what? You are burned out. Now, we always think of like people working a ton of hours and weekends and everything else, because if you believe half the gurus, and I'm putting my quotes up here about burnout, that it's just working too much is going to burn you out. But just working in negative environment day after day, week after week, is going to make you feel burned out. So now that I have kind of expressed what working in this chaotic environment can do to those of us with ADHD, let's talk about some solutions here. Let's talk about how we can navigate working in a chaotic or toxic workplace. And I think the first thing we need to do is we need to identify where the chaos is coming from. Is the chaos part of the culture? Is it your own individual manager, your supervisor? Is it your coworkers? Is it team members? Is it other departments that you need to work with? Are you part of the chaos? You need to evaluate where the toxicity and the chaos is coming from, and you need to be honest with yourself. If you are part of the chaos, then you need to work on how you can reduce that. You should also identify what the chaos is. It can be a culture of being double booked for meetings, people constantly interrupting you, you allowing those interruptions. It can be other people who don't have their act together and they're working in a last minute dash to meet a deadline when you're already struggling, right? And for all you self-employed people and entrepreneurs, is it the clients that are constantly changing their mind or moving the goalpost? Is it clients that are never happy? I mean, that was my case for some of my clients when running my PR firm. But I think in order to build a strategy to counterattack this, you got to know where the chaos is coming from. Is it the culture? Is it one person? Are you part of the chaos? All right, let's be honest. Next, we need to start setting boundaries. Again, you go on Instagram and you see all these kind of really, interesting posts about boundaries. But my advice to everybody who's working in a chaotic environment and they have ADHD is to start small. You got to tip your toe in the water a little bit. You can't just completely change the way you work in one day and get away with it, because it's not going to happen. You got to start small. So I'm going to throw out a couple quick examples here. Maybe ignore a Teams notification for 1 hour, or whatever you're using, Slack, whatever. Can you ignore it for 1 hour? Can you ignore an email for 2 hours? Can you leave the office on time? Can you not show up to one unnecessary meeting and see if you're missed? I'll give you a word of caution on boundaries. Some boundaries you can set, and others you need to judge whether you can actually get away with it without consequences. Again, I mentioned, missing a meeting. I mean, if you needed to be in that meeting, you needed to be in that meeting. But if it's just a BS meeting that you're just showing up to, maybe try and skip it and see what happens. If you float a few tests and people respect those boundaries, now is the opportunity to build upon those boundaries. All right, control what you can. If you have listened to me for even a couple months, you know I love that word control, because we need to control whatever we can when it comes to being a busy adult with ADHD. We can't live in response mode. And in most cases, trying to change somebody else's working style is a complete waste of your time. So it's up to you to control whatever you can on your end. I'm not asking you to control others, so don't mistake what I say. Control the strategies, the work habits, etc. of yourself. And I think a great exercise is to take the time by yourself and start the process of even documenting what you can control. You're probably not going to get this done in one shot, and it's probably an ongoing process. But living in response mode to everybody else around you is not sustainable, and you will get burned out. I 1000% guarantee it. Okay, next, find some type of support system that understands your challenges. I'm doing this episode because it comes up all the time when I work one-on-one with people. And a lot of times, people that need that support and a little bit of prompting to begin the process of identifying how to navigate, a work environment. Many times people don't want to go it alone, or maybe they need somebody to bounce these ideas off of. So no matter who you choose to work with, find somebody who can help you solve some of the problems, without losing your job, losing your clients. Find somebody you trust. Find somebody that understands these challenges. I will say that sometimes you do need an outside voice that maybe isn't totally connected with you, so you can speak honestly and openly. Because I know a lot of times those of us with ADHD, we don't really have anybody that we can really talk to and be as open as we can when we're navigating these types of situations. So keep that in mind as well. And again, you need a good fit as well. You need somebody you can work with and you can just lay it out on the table. So, for example, the boundaries, maybe you're working through this, with somebody, but you may be afraid to set boundaries or stick up for yourself. But when you're working with somebody who understands this, maybe you can get a little creative and even tactful in the ways you take back some of that control. So, and that's why it's good to kind of get that voice. Next, take care of yourself. I mean, when we get super stressed out and miserable at work, we don't feel like doing anything. And that just bleeds into our personal lives. And you cannot let this happen. I've talked to so many people who work their ass off all day. They work into the night, and then they just zone out on Netflix or doom scroll or, quite frankly, pull the covers over their head. You have to dig a little deep and take care of yourself. And it could be something as simple as going to take that walk at lunch. Make sure you're hitting the gym, even if it's on the weekends, whatever you can squeeze in. Or you know what? Find 5 or 10 minutes to sit in a quiet room. Start small and work your way up. But I can tell you, if you don't take care of yourself, it is going to catch up with you. So please take care of yourself. Next, if you're navigating that toxic, chaotic work environment, you got to stay professional. maintaining professionalism in your interactions, focus on your job responsibilities to the best of your ability. Avoid engaging in gossip or negative talk. That's only going to fuel things even more. Professionalism, I think, can help maintain at least a positive reputation for yourself and reduce the impact of that toxic behavior on your own work performance. The more we complain, the more we gossip, the more we fuel that negativity, and we don't even want to get started when we get back to our desk. I just mentioned a minute ago about those of us with ADHD, we can let our emotions get the better of us, and you must practice pausing and not let your emotions get you in trouble. And that's why what I just mentioned a minute ago about taking time for yourself, learning how to quiet your mind a little bit, I think is going to start the process of helping you practice hitting the pause button. And that's why taking care of yourself is just mission critical. Okay. Next, if things are completely out of control, communicate with leadership if it's safe to do so. Now, I'm not going to conduct an entire conversation on psychological safety because we could do an entire episode, if not many episodes, on what psychological safety is. But if you feel safe to have an open discussion with somebody who can make a difference in the organization, try it. Maybe that's a different person within the organization. Maybe it's somebody in human resources that you can chat with. What I do find many times when I discuss these things with people is it does come down to culture, and sometimes these conversations are not easy. But if you know of a safe route within the organization to have a safe conversation, if you're working for an organization, then I think it's in your best interest to try that. You don't have to disclose ADHD. You don't have to do anything of the such. So you just need to communicate that you feel that there are certain things that could be improved and everybody could do their job better if these were worked on. So next, if you have to do it, start thinking about an exit strategy. If you're convinced things will never change where you are, you'll need to start to develop that exit strategy. The timing of this could be all over the place. You could find a new job in a month. It could take a couple years. But if there's no way you're going to change the things that need to be changed that will allow you to thrive in this current situation, start to put yourself first and think about your next move. So those are some of the things that you can begin to tackle to navigate that toxic and chaotic workplace career choice if you are an adult with ADHD. And I mentioned I do work with a lot of people who are in this situation. We work on both what you can do on your end to get more control and clarity over how you are working, and strategies to navigate the BS coming from other people. And if that sounds like you, then let's chat. Just hit overcomingdistractions.com. Book that 15-minute Zoom meeting with me. See if we're a good fit. I want to help you because I know there are so many people of you out there that are navigating this situation of I have ADHD. I know I'm good at what I do, but I'm working in chaos. And just know that not all of this is your fault or your ADHD. All right, overcomingdistractions.com. Gang, I will catch you next time.